You all, CHD 220, and this is the lecture video for chapter 3 called The Decision to Parent. Becoming a parent is one of the most significant events that can occur in a person's life. And deciding whether or not to become a parent is one of the most difficult and important decisions that a parent can make or a person can make. Couples must deal with societal pressures, family pressures, and peer pressures. Today, most couples can decide whether or not they want to have children. If couples choose to have children, they can get to plan how many children they want and when to have them. Planning also allows couples to decide not to have children. So in this chapter, we're going to learn about parenting risk and like with the risk of an unplanned pregnancy. We're also going to learn what influences pregnancies and what factors couples should consider when they're making those decisions to become a parent. And we're going to talk about the risk associated with parental age. And finally, we're going to talk about a decision-making process that you can use for deciding whether or not you're going to parent. So let's talk about what influences parenting decisions. There's a variety of factors that influence a couple's decision to have a baby or not. Considering why they want or don't want to be parents will help them decide if parenthood is a good choice for them. So the first reason or the first influence to decide that might help you with your parenting decision is from a desire to express marital love. Oftentimes when a husband and wife love each other, they want to be parents. And so having children can be a wonderful experience. So it's kind of like a natural extension of a couple's love for one another. However, this should not be the only reason you have a child, okay? Or that you choose to have a baby. A second influence might be just the desire to be parents. That's another common reason that couples choose is quite simple. They just want to be parents. Another is an expectation about parenthood. People may decide to become parents based on the expectations they have about being a parent, what it looks like, okay? Just an expectation they have out there based on their experiences. Another influence might be the expectations about children. Some people decide to become parents based on expectations they have about children. They choose to have children based on realistic expectations about them. They're going to be very prepared for parenting. People need to know that parenting is a huge responsibility. They should also have a real understanding about how children grow and develop. Successful parenting brings many rewards, such as the enjoyment of parenting tasks and the joy of seeing your child grow from a helpless newborn to a competent adult. But having those realistic expectations are not instinctual, meaning people just aren't born with those very realistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations about children, if you have that, you're going to face a much more difficult time as a parent. And worse yet, the children will also suffer because the parents cannot overcome the expectations and cannot get over that enough to become an effective parent. Now, this is one that I think for a lot of married couples is so true, and it's pressure from family and friends. And a lot of times people just assume you get married and the next step is to have a baby. So they get a lot of pressure from outside friends, from family, that kind of thing. But of course, this should never be the reason that you choose to have a baby. And so it's just not a very good idea. Sometimes, and this is to me is really a sad one, is the desire to influence a partner. It's kind of like trapping someone, so to speak. And parenting is a very serious commitment. And so it should be a mutual decision. Yet sometimes parenthood becomes is done to trap a partner. And most 99.9% of the time, that just doesn't work. Okay. So what kind of factors should you consider before parenting? You really carefully, you and your spouse, the couples should discuss their goals, both individual goals and their career goals. How's it going to impact your career? How will having a baby impact your career? In the past, it was kind of like a couple gets married and the wife kind of becomes a homemaker, so to speak. But now that's certainly just not the case. More often than not, women have careers and that are equal to those of men. And so you have to talk about what will parenting do to your career, and how are you going to balance that? What are you going to do? Are you going to have enough quality time to spend with the child if you're not going, if your career takes up so much of your time? And what are you going to do about childcare while you're both at work? Like those are tremendous things you need to talk about in that area. Another thing to consider is the impact to your finances. Children are expensive. They're not. Your book says this, and I think this is so funny. It says the cries of newborns are not the only thing that keeps parents awake at night, and a lot of it has to do with the sudden weight of the new financial responsibilities that come along with having a child. Um, Child expenses make up a sizable percentage of a family's income. Your book quotes somewhere around $11,000, I think, per year is a kind of an average of a yearly cost that it costs to educate children, and I think that would be um, based upon what you're giving them, right? I mean, that could be on the low end, but that could also be maybe an average amount. Okay, so you really have to decide before you have a baby: is your yearly is your income adequate to take care of the needs of a child, because their needs are vast. Okay, and there's lots of them. Are you ready to be a parent? That's a big one too, right? Determining if you're ready to for the role of parenthood is something everyone needs to consider. Um, let's talk about the factors that involve that with deciding, are you ready? Number one, your marital relationship. Although single parent families can be very strong, most experts are going to tell you that that nuclear family is the family structure that is ideal for parenting. So here's some questions you have to ask from that married couple perspective. Is our marriage strong and secure? Are we going to be able to provide the foundation for creating that strong family? Are we willing to work to keep our marriage the primary relationship? Lots of times people think that when you have a baby, your marriage or your relationship with your significant other takes a back seat to the child. And that's not ever the case, because if you don't keep your marriage or your relationship significant with your spouse or your significant other, then there's going to be lots of problems that you are going to develop while you're trying to actually parent. Okay. This is another huge one. How well do we communicate? There's got to be a solid open line of communication so that you can make that smooth transition with parenthood. Okay. You got to be responsible. Okay. Parents must accept responsibility for another human being's life, and that's big. Okay. So you have to be mature enough to understand what children need and how you're going to provide for those needs. Sometimes, however, when I was talking about keeping your marriage strong and secure and making that be the most important factor, it's still a lifestyle change. Okay. So once your baby comes, your lives will never be the same. If you say yes to parenting, it may mean saying no to some aspects of your social life as a couple, because of course now you're responsible for another human being and you've got to take care of them. You need to have some knowledge about parenting. And remember, that's what we were talking about with those realistic expectations. And having realistic expectations, like I said, are not instinctual. It comes from knowledge. And you can get this knowledge from about parenting from taking child development courses, like kind of what you're taking now, reading books, looking on the internet, observing other parents interacting with their children. Another factor to consider is age and health of the parents. 20, I think, to like maybe 32 are considered the best years for childbearing. So you really kind of have to consider your health, and especially the health and age of the mother is the most important. Does the mother does she eat healthy? Does she get enough exercise? Is she free of alcohol and drugs, like while trying to become pregnant? And there's a big piece of it after that age of, like I said, somewhere between 20 and 32 that are considered high risk parenting. And so and a lot of that comes with mothers who have, like, they wait and have delayed parenthood, especially women over the age of 39 and in their 40s. And one of the risk factors in that involves children with Down syndrome. So actually that age of parenting can play on the back end with a more mature older parent, but what about the rest of teenage parents as well? In the United States, there are more than 1 million teens become pregnant each year, and it happens for some teens just think it won't happen to them. Okay, oh, that's not going to happen to me. I don't have to worry about it. However, it's being a teen parent is a high risk, okay? And it is a high risk for both the baby and the mom. The infant mortality rate in babies that are born to teen mothers is like out of every 1,000 births, there can be 13 infants that are in every 1,000 that will die in infancy due to that mortality rate. And a lot of it, like I said, just has to do with the high risk that is involved with teenage mothers. And the last thing we're going to talk about is actually decision making. Okay, deciding about parenting may be even more difficult than deciding about whether or not you want to get married or not. And the decision making process involves several steps that can help you make very careful, responsible, and informed decisions. First, you got to identify the decision that that needs to be made. Second, you're going to list all the alternatives, like kind of like a pro con chart. Okay, what are the good things about it? What are the not so good things about it? The alternatives that you may have. Thirdly, you're going to evaluate the consequences of each of those alternatives that you come up with. And consequences are the results of each alternative. Some are going to be good and some are going to be bad. That's that pro-con chart, okay? You're going to choose the best alternative that's for you and your significant other or your couple, okay? Then act on the decision and then evaluate the results. So that takes care of the big ideas surrounding chapter 3, the decision to parent. And one thing I want to leave you with is a few takeaways is that it's a very important decision to decide whether or not you want to become a parent. Unplanned children are a parenting risk, okay, whether they come to an older in age with the mother or if they come from teenage pregnancies. There can be lots of factors that are going to decide and help you influence your decision about parenting. And there's lots of factors that you need to consider before having a baby. And then you should use that decision-making process to make sure that you're making responsible decisions about parenting. Thanks so much for joining me for chapter 3, and I will see you again.